Welcome to Blooming Wildwood Homestead. Today we are going to be planting quinoa. This is a video that I actually started yesterday, but I only had one bed made, and so I had to take a break, make the other bed, and I was able to finish things out today. I don't know if you have ever run into that situation, but sometimes you start one project, you think you're going to be able to make it through and finish it, only to find out that another step has to be done first before you can finish the thing that you're working on. So why plant quinoa? We've been talking a lot about food shortages. We've talked about wheat shortages, corn shortages, potential other grains being in short supply or extremely expensive. And so we've talked about expanding the garden and trying to do whatever you can to offset some of those different challenges that might be coming up as far as what you have to put away in your pantry. The bottom line is we are very used to having more of those filler type of items, such as potatoes, rice, the wheat products, breads, things like that. And that's what a lot of people are used to eating. I can't grow rice here, but something that I can grow would be quinoa. Sometimes quinoa is kind of funny. It gets lumped into the grain category, but it's not actually a grain since it grows from a plant, and the quinoa that we eat is actually a seed. It technically isn't a grain. So some people who maybe are trying to avoid grains might be able to go ahead and add quinoa into their diet. So it just kind of depends on how it's lumped into things, but basically it is something that a lot of people use maybe as a substitute for rice or as a complementary item that you could use to alternate between rice dishes and things like that. One of the beautiful things about quinoa is that it does have a high protein content as far as plants go. 1 cup of cooked quinoa can give you 8 grams of plant protein. So that's a nice addition if you're trying to supplement with maybe some type of complete protein with your beans and your quinoa. That could be a really great meal idea. So today we're gonna go ahead and give quinoa a try. This is my first time growing it, so I needed to put in a couple of new beds. I was hoping I was gonna get it all in one, but of course I started it before I even had the bed started. So I got one bed made and then found out that I needed to actually go ahead and make a second bed in order to have enough space to get everything planted. The quinoa that you're seeing here was started about 3 weeks ago, and I started it in the soil blocks for a couple of reasons. One being that I didn't have the bed prepared already, and so I needed to go ahead and get that started indoors. The second reason is we have had some really cool temperatures, and while it only needs about 60 degrees to germinate, our soil temperatures have just not quite been there. And so I wanted to make sure that it got off to a good start. And the third reason is that I have read a lot of places that quinoa can actually be mistaken for a weed as it's beginning to come up, and so it's really common that people accidentally pull out their quinoa because they think that the plant looks like a weed. And as I'm seeing it with its second and third leaves, I can see how that definitely could be a possibility and how it could be mistaken for such. The other nice thing about starting in the soil blocks is that I don't have to go back through and thin the plants. From what I have read and what I understand, quinoa needs to be spaced out about 18 inches because of the fact that it's going to grow really big and we're harvesting the seed off of it. And so because of that, it needs more room to grow. By having it in the soil blocks, I'm not going to have to go back through and thin it to the 18 inches apart because I've already planted it as such. With the soil block, it allows the roots to continue to grow, which is great. And that's going to be a great way to just pop that in the ground. and get that going from there. Now I need about 18 inches difference. So this piece of wood is 14. I marked an additional 4 so that I can get pretty close to that 18-inch mark. My understanding is the quinoa is also a very beautiful plant in general. So if nothing else, we should get a lot of beautiful flowers to look at. I'm not sure exactly how tall it's going to get. Some of the things that I have read have said it tends to be about 4 feet tall, but then it also says in places where you have higher rainfall and higher moisture content, it can get as tall as 8 feet. Well, in the Pacific Northwest, we typically don't have any shortage of rain, except for last year when it was a drought. So how tall is it going to get? I don't know. We'll have to just see how it goes this year. I also have read that it's very beautiful to look at because as it's coming to maturity, the particular variety that I chose, the rainbow, I think it's called Rainbow Brilliant, is going to have a variety of colors, and it's just going to be very beautiful as it's going to maturity. This is the bed that I just put in yesterday, and I just got it planted today. And so you can see I do still have the markers out, and I will be taking those down, but we've got quinoa most of the way down here. And this is the bed that I went ahead and finished planting yesterday. So lots of potential for a great harvest. Let me know in the comments down below, what are you doing to expand out your garden? If you've never gardened before, this is the perfect opportunity to go ahead and get something in the ground. If you have been gardening, what's something new that maybe you're adding to your garden, or something that you are planning to expand so that you have more to put away in your pantry as we move forward this year. If today's video was helpful, don't forget to like, and I would love to have you subscribe and be part of our community here at Blooming Wildwood Homestead. Until next time, bye everyone.